Here it is, the Enduro Knightrunner. This is a fully capable 4x4 radio controlled truck that's ready to hit the rocks, trail, or anything else. So today, we check out this incredibly scale RC truck and all that it offers, and then we get it a little dirty. The Knightrunner from AMain RC is a 1/10 scale ready-to-run trail truck that comes pre-assembled out of the box with brushed electronics, and it's offered in two different versions. One version includes a LiPo battery and LiPo charger, and the second version does not, so you'll have to supply your own. Both versions do require 4 AA batteries to power the included transmitter though. Other than the battery and the charger, both versions are pretty much the same, featuring the realistic Knightrunner body, which resembles a modern 4-door Toyota Tacoma, but it's not officially licensed. Despite that, the Knightrunner still looks fantastic, and it's configured to support realism and trail performance. Now the first step to producing this is creating an awesome body. AMain RC has a good variety of enduro bodies in their past, with some more scale than others, but perhaps none have been as realistic as the Knightrunner, thanks in part to James Knight, who is the founder of Knight Customs and the designer of this body, hence the name. Now the body is made up from 2 thermoformed Lexan pieces, the cab and the bed, and those are connected at the center with good bracing in place with little flex between them. To highlight details, the body features many decals and hard plastic accessories like the big grille up front attached from the inside. The headlights are only decals, but the Lexan has been left clear behind them, so if you want to just remove the decals and put LEDs behind them, that'll be okay. But the LEDs are not included and sold separately. Moving up the hood, we get to the hard plastic windshield wipers underneath the windshield, which features a decal that provides trim around the window but leaves the window clear. Of course, the body features hard plastic side mirrors with silver decals, but those aren't reflective. More side window decals are used, some sponsor decals down below, and lastly, hard plastic door handles on all 4 corners. Only on the left side of the body will you find a decal for the gas cap, and only on the right side of the body you'll find the exhaust, all accurate for the real truck. The hard plastic exhaust accessory is an officially licensed MagnaFlow exhaust too, and it says it right on it. In the very back of the truck, there are more decals used over the rear window, on our taillights, the bed handle, and some AMain RC branding. Like the headlights were, these taillights are also clear behind the decal to make it easier to add your own lights separately. Some LEDs are included though, and they come installed in the officially licensed DeMello front bumper that comes installed. This bumper has a spot for a winch fairlead, 2 towed D-rings, and a little skid plate coverage. When you install the body, the front end has been trimmed a bit so the body sits right on the bumper. The same thing for the rear end, with the body corners trimmed for a more snugger fit on that rear bumper, which is also an officially licensed DeMello piece. This rear bumper features a tow hitch and 2 tow D-ring mounts. More accessories are included too, they're just not installed, like this hard plastic snorkel that attaches to the cab. And also this officially licensed front runner bed rack and tent which mount into the drop bed. This tent is pretty cool too, designed with more of a fluid shape to give it some more life, and if you turn it over, it's hollow in the center to reduce weight. On the scale, this piece is a little over 100 grams, or about 160 when you add the parts to mount it. Adding weight up high in a rock crawler or any vehicle is gonna raise the center of gravity and diminish trail performance just a little bit, so it's nice that AMain made installing these parts optional. You know what else is optional? Subscribing, although you know you want to. One last element to add more realism to this body, if you want to, is to utilize this full decal sheet that comes included with the Knightrunner. You'll have to cut these decals out yourself, but they're a lightweight option to add more details. Oh, just like with the other Enduro trucks, AMain RC has turned the inside of this box into a scale diorama for all those cool photos. Now, since this body was designed by James Knight, who's kind of like a scale accessory master, it only seems right that he should offer parts made specifically for the Knightrunner body, and he does. If you head over to the Knight Custom Shapeway store, at the time we filmed this, there was 20 different parts specific for the Knightrunner body, including LED light buckets if you want to add lights, there's various skid plates, bed tools, different grills, and more. All of these parts are high quality 3D prints, and they can be painted if you want to. Speaking of realism, check out this custom Knightrunner truck built by Topher Builds over on Instagram. He repainted and detailed the stock body with his own decals and paint, and it looks freaking amazing. The Knightrunner body looks pretty great to start with, but with a little work and an eye for detail, you can make a one-of-a-kind level 11 Knightrunner. Now for our truck, we wanted to add a little something but not go crazy. So we just picked up these inexpensive plastic TRX4 D-rings, and they're a great fit on the front and rear DeMello bumpers, and they were only $3. So really impressive body with lots of details, great body lines, lots of realism, and lots of possibilities for customization. The only little issue I have with this body is how the mirrors are only fixed at one point on the side, and they do kind of flex and pull out a bit. This may have been done intentionally to help the mirrors survive when they slide against the rocks. I'm not really sure, but I'll probably go back and secure the second point myself. Now, some other scale areas on this truck include the officially licensed General Grabber ATX tires in the 1.55 size. And these tires are mounted on Element RC wheels. They're the black urban beadlocks with nut caps, and they look pretty dang good. Like all Enduros, the Knightrunner uses a 12mm wheel hex, so most aftermarket crawler wheels will fit, although only smaller diameter tire sizes will fit without rubbing the body. These are 1.9-inch Proline high racks at 4.75 inches tall, and they definitely rub the body and would need further attention to fit properly. The Knightrunner has a few other realistic tricks up its sleeve, with the biggest being the use of the IFS, or independent front suspension, that comes standard on the Knightrunner. This is only the second truck from Element RC to include this system, behind the Trail Runner. With the IFS, it tosses out the front solid axle and instead replaces it with a double wishbone setup, allowing for left and right side independent work while still maintaining 4x4 control. Now, the IFS system has been around a little while from Element, and it's been available as a conversion kit that can be added to other Enduro trucks, as well as the Axial SCX-10, SCX-10-2, and the SSD Trail King once you add a few required items. The best part about the IFS system, though, is how it looks realistic, and it looks a whole lot more accurate for certain truck builds like this Knightrunner. Now, another cool aspect about the IFS system is how it does a great job at hiding the steering system with no long leaks traveling along the axle like most trail trucks have to do it. And instead, the system sits up high and out of sight using plastic bell cranks and a metal steering rack supported by bearings. You'll notice the left and right side steering links rest at nearly the same height as the upper arms, so when you look at it straight on from the front, they appear to be one piece and you hardly notice them. From the front, you'll probably notice this front skid plate that looks great and sits behind the bumper, polishing up that final look. For our steering angles, the IFS uses universal drive shafts, offering up to 45 degrees of steering angle for tight turns on the trail or anywhere else. And this is also thanks in part to the overdriven Stealth X transmission that comes equipped on all Enduro trucks. This transmission provides an overdrive of 5.7% in the stock configuration, but it can be changed and bumped up to 11.8% with a gear swap, which is included, or you can return the transmission to a 1-to-1 setup. For the rear end, you'll find a solid axle with a lock differential supported on a 4-link suspension, and then on all corners are aluminum-bodied oil-filled shocks. For the electronics, the Knightrunner uses a 1523 MG metal gear servo with a metal servo horn. The ESC is the 3S LiPo compatible SC480X, and that's got a T-style battery connector. And the motor is a 16-turn brushed reedy motor. To power the truck, a 2S or 3S LiPo is needed, and ideally, you're going to want to use a shorty-sized LiPo, like this ProTech pack. But if you really want to use full-size packs, you can by swapping out to this longer battery brace that is included. But using a shorty pack is really recommended. For those of you familiar with the Enduro trucks, this is all pretty standard equipment that you've heard before, but there is one exception to this Knightrunner, and that's the longer 12.8-inch wheelbase it sits at. Now, we actually just reviewed the Ecto recently, which is also a 12.8-inch truck, and if you try to swap their bodies, it doesn't quite work. But if you're curious, the Ecto body weighs 158 grams compared to the 233 grams of the Knightrunner. And for how impressive this body looks, that is a really good weight. For a wheelbase comparison, left is the 12.8-inch Knightrunner and right is the 12.3-inch Trail Runner. Both of these trucks are lined up by the rear axle, but at the front you can see there is a little length difference, but it's not that much. Overall, the Knightrunner is a really impressive RC trail truck that's made to look super realistic while not offsetting any trail performance, which does tend to happen the more realistic you make these bodies. I'd say though that easily, the Knightrunner body is the most realistic looking body released from Element RC, and the Knightrunner overall is one of the coolest RCs to wheel down the trail or to just admire as it sits on your desk. Guys, go check out the Element RC Knightrunner by following the links down below, and for more RC, check out these videos.